Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Wednesday, June 3, 2026, the start of Q3, third day. And I'm Abdul Majid Aman.
And I'm Ahmed. We're going to discuss how UpScrolled has been banned in Saudi Arabia and the IAEA chief has praised the UAE, and apparently Alabbar has become the CEO of Emaar, Misr.
It's very important that Emaar, Misr, I think it's the third story, but what are we discussing? We're going directly into the news.
Honestly, I keep thinking about how there's so much commotion. We know that there was a lot that happened last night. I believe it was Kuwait, and it was another nation that were attacked.
Oh yeah, those small attacks are happening. I just think it's important that we segregate these attacks from the onslaught that we faced for so long. No? Because whatever we faced for those 3 months,
I don't think that's good juju magic.
It's not.
That's
but
crazy to say.
I still think that whatever was from Feb 28 to nearly the whole of March, and UAE was the recipient of like 70% of attacks.
Still repeating what you said.
Yeah, but I think still we should be at least somewhat content with the idea that Iran is off the table now. They've said we are not going to negotiate anymore, but then Mr. Trump tweeted like, no, the negotiations are on. So we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But it's a lot of things that are happening in the markets.
We don't know what is happening behind the scenes, but I can tell you as a resident in the UAE that they are definitely putting up a lot of safety measures in place to protect people. I live beside an airbase, and I can tell you that I kind of just feel it. I kind of just know it, and for me, honestly, this like blanket of reassurance has honestly been engulfing me for a while, because I'm now very, very aware, like peak aware, but in a good way of, like there are measures in place. There are measures in place, and I think that that's something so important. And we even saw it with Hajj in Saudi Arabia. There was this video that was trending of basically like, I don't know, like this really cool tech machinery. This is the best that I can offer you that is like protecting people. It was like trending on X, and they have measures in place. And I think that everyone is collectively aware that you need to tread carefully, and that I said this before, honestly, Majid, but I think what happened since February 28th has changed the very social fabric of the Gulf. Not in the sense of, they'll be less kind. I think that we're always going to see the hospitality of the Gulf. We're always going to see people like Larry Fink come and tell you that he loves coming to Saudi because they welcome him so well, but much more of in terms of like, how alert they are, especially like military wise, because, we saw that there were so many reports of, they're ordering drones from like Ukraine, and like South Korea is also involved.
Him was always there. Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, he visited, I think, Saudi, UAE, and Qatar.
Why did you say the name like that?
Very funny story. I always called him Vladimir. And I always thought it was an A, and then I went and when I started following him very like actively on X, I was like, it's Volodymyr. So it's kind of me avoiding the A's, right?
I did notice that you send his stories a lot, though. I did pick up on that.
Because the funny thing is that we see so many people go to Saudi, so many people come to UAE, apart from the prime ministers and presidents. Usually they meet the finance minister, they meet His Highness Sheikh Qanun. He met all the top leaders. He met MBZ, Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed, the leader of the UAE, the president of the UAE. He met MBS, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and then he went to Qatar and he met Mr. Thani. So it's so interesting that he was always meeting the top person when it comes to learning how to avoid drone attacks. Finally, Saudi also is doing a partnership with a US company. It's called VR2 something. And now Saudi is going to build their own Shahid-like drones in Riyadh. So again, I always say this, and I think people will start to be like, why are you always saying this? But it shows you that they're proactive. They saw a threat and they created difference against it.
I just think what they're putting up, like, it's also quite some sweet control. Like, apparently 80 Ports Group, they acquired this Brazilian company called CLI for $835 million, I believe, and apparently it controls most of the sugar in the world.
Nice.
This is something that just happened yesterday. Yeah. So I think it's kind of the point of, you know, they're not changing their international strategy. You know, they're still investing worldwide, whether it's in Latin America, whether it's in Europe. Recently, with the big report from The Guardian that we saw that the UAE controls most of the farming subsidies there. Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, it is refreshing to see those reports in the sense of it's good to know where their wealth is really coming from. That I don't think it's fair to say that it's just oil anymore. But I do want to bring up something. There was a comment in a post that we did. We need to discuss this. So it was basically about UpScrolled, which we're going to later discuss, being banned in Saudi Arabia. But someone in the comment section, American, I believe, this is what they had to say. I need to know what you think about this, Majid. He was like, Palestinian, Jordanian, Australian. This is where Isam Hijazi is from. Yeah. The Middle East is obsessed with people's nationalities. Absolutely weird. I hope people start being conscious of this a bit more. It's beyond weird.
It's not.
You think?
I don't know who this person is or where he is from. I would Global Peace Ambassador at Global Peace Index, head of FII charity. The simple thing is, what we are doing, we always do that. We try it with Abjad Masad, Jordanian American. Yeah. It's telling the heritage which they come from, because you need to highlight that. You can't just plaster American on Amjad Masad's face and not listen to his Jordanian stories and not give his legacy from where he comes from. He got this highest something from Jordan. Americans haven't given him any awards or medals till now. So if you want
they have. Silicon Valley has, in a way.
They have accepted him, but it took a lot of time, right?
I think it did.
It's not like he just went there and they're like, oh my God, thanks you.
I think it's respect, and I think there's a big difference. But with this
post, he had to earn it, right?
That's true. With this post, Majid, it's just hilarious because you really can't win with people. I remember there was this one time where I was like, okay, fine, I won't write 3 nationalities. I'll just write Palestinian. And someone was like, you are not acknowledging his Jordanian heritage. But on this topic, I find what he said really interesting because, you know, you can tell us that this is something weird. I get it. I understand it. I remember there was this time, Majid, where I knew this South Asian girl, and like to relate to her in some kind of way, you know, something I would always do is be like, oh my God, like I love this Indian food. Yeah. Or I love this, you know, whatever, this Indian wedding, like to relate to her. And she actually found it to be weird. Yeah, she called me a racist. She was like, you're being a racist. But it's so strange because this is a culture that I grew up around. Like, my friends will send me videos of, oh, Ward, like, is it true Sudanese people have beds in the garden, in the living room? This is true, by the way.
This is true, okay.
Sudani people, they keep beds in the living room, in the garden outside. Yeah. Like, you know how they're, like, your garden, you have a setup? There will always be a bed. It's just in our culture. It's just how our culture is. My friends will send it to me.
In Pakistani Indian culture, it would be a swing, a sofa kind of a swing, and they have like the craziest designs for them.
But like, Majid, this is how we share culture, and it's like in America, you'll notice like when a killer is found, what do they love doing? Like, what do you mean? You guys are obsessed with culture. Like, oh my God, black person did this, Mexican person did this,
Muslim terrorist shooting.
Like the second that they have like a shooter, which is a huge problem in America, they're like, was he white? Like we need to know where he was from. And I see in the comment section. I would say, just to respond to this person, the reason why we add it is kind of like how when the Kalshi story came out, that you had these like 2 people, Luena Lopez and Tariq Mansour. What actually happened was that Western media took the story of Luena Lopez, the young ballerina who made it big in Silicon Valley, and they built this $1 billion gambling startup, Kalshi. What we're going to do here is we're going to go like, no, Lebanese Tariq Mansour built a $1 billion startup. Yeah. So it's kind of just like perspective.
It's just it's a moment of education. for a lot of people, we're not criticizing your comment, we love the comment, it's a good question that why do we do that and
Yeah,
why
it was
would we write
interesting.
that? And internally we have discussed this and we've discussed with the leadership. The idea is we need to tell the roots. If we don't tell the roots of these guys, they will be whitewashed, Americanized, and all the credit will be given to, oh, just because he was in Silicon Valley, just because he was in America. No, he came from a beginning
Yeah.
where he saw struggles, where he saw some things. Like, I'll give you an example of the Egyptian founder of Swivel. What was his name? I'll figure out his name in a minute.
Mustafa Kandil.
Mustafa Kandil. The thing is, he saw a problem with Egyptian infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, that you can't find a bus, you can't find a transport or commute
Yeah.
thing which can take you to somewhere. He built Swivel around it, right? He listed it on NASDAQ, but again, he built it, but he was in America when he conceived the idea. So he saw a problem. He went to an environment where entrepreneurship is like, I think, celebrated, or at least there is an environment where you can do something. And then he used that information, that knowledge from there and
Yeah.
implemented a system. So you need to tell the Egyptian side of the story. You need to tell the Palestinian side of the story of Issam Hijazi. And it's a very big proponent of his whole personality. He came into limelight with his comments and videos. Remember, we
And
shared
it
so
is
many of
why
them.
he launched the app. Like, I
Yeah.
think what was so heartbreaking for me to hear was that the fact that he had like 10 family members who died in
Yeah.
Gaza. But on a real note, let's get to the story.
Yeah.
UpScrolled, the social media platform that, as we have said, is by the Palestinian, Jordanian, Australian entrepreneur Issam Hijazi, says that it has been banned in Saudi Arabia after months of reported access issues. Now, the platform has emerged as one of the fastest growing social media startups, attracting users seeking alternatives to mainstream platforms.
And since we were discussing comments, there were a lot of comments from, I think, people who are in Saudi, and they're like, oh, UpScrolled is working here. You're just believing the propaganda. The second slide of our carousel on Instagram clearly shows you a screenshot of UpScrolled support. So UpScrolled is saying that we're not taking it from
Yeah.
Western media, we're not taking it from some sources, anonymous sources. It's UpScrolled itself that says that it is happening, and they will talk to authorities through official channels to solve it. And UpScrolled has said this, that engaging with authorities through official channels after months of reported access issues. It's not just it happened yesterday and then now they're complaining. There's been a lot happening. The company has recently also relocated its headquarters and operating entity, UpScrolled BV, to the Netherlands as it continues expanding internationally.
Founded in July 2025, UpScrolled has grown to more than 5 million users worldwide. The platform gained traction by positioning itself as an alternative social network for users concerned about content moderation and restrictions on political speech.
Its growth accelerated after a consortium that included Oracle founder Larry Ellison acquired TikTok US operations together with MGX, and there were a lot of other parties. Silver Lake is involved, and TikTok also has some stake in that deal. The deal sparked concerns among some users over content moderation policies and the future visibility of political and activist content.
Now, the company says that it is now working through official channels following the reported restrictions, and this development really does mark a significant challenge for a platform, I think, that has built such a large user base. But I think what's even more interesting is that the reports are slightly concerning because some users are saying that they can access it in Saudi Arabia. There are some people that are against the ban, the alleged ban, and some people who are pro the ban, saying that Saudi Arabia, you're doing what you need to do. I think the other platform that I think got banned before was, I think it was Roblox, and it was in Kuwait. And that was like a really huge story. Look, with these platforms, I'll admit I'm not a user on UpScrolled. That is like too overwhelming for me. I won't lie, it's too overwhelming for me. I already use Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp. I'm on Gmail. Like, I need to catch a break. I need to catch a break from these apps. But I think the point here is that will UpScrolled survive? Because the entire motto that they really built the brand on is that we are here for these silenced people.
Yeah.
You know, we are here to tell the voices of the unheard. But in the end of the day, I'm still on TikTok, and there was this guy on X, and he kind of like made UpScrolled go trending, and he's also trending on TikTok. And he also, basically, this guy came and said, "Oh my God, Magic, it's crazy. Apparently, damn, like I need an invite. Palantir does like this gala dinner that like for its employees that is like so secret every single year. Nobody is allowed to film this gala dinner. If you would believe the kind of guests that they had Justin Bieber come and perform for them. Yeah, and people took a video of Justin Bieber, and then people were like, you know, like we were hyping you up during Coachella, but you're going and you're performing for Palantir. If you don't
Whoever
know,
pays the money, right?
I know it's the money, but he performed for the Ambanis before.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think like
Whoever
during
pays
the
the money.
the Big Bang wedding. But the point is that if you look at I need to find it. I need to find this. Like I was so shocked. Like it has the list of people that like you truly never ever expect would be in the same place. Like obviously you have. If obviously you have Alex Karp there, but I think Justin Bieber, Palantir.
Yeah.
We need to find it.
I think the important part of the story is that
Yeah.
these things happen. My only concern with all of this, the whole news piece is that it is happening in Saudi Arabia. Maybe. It's a very long shot that I'm taking, but sometimes we have seen GPS spoofing in some countries. We have seen it in UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Maybe it's happening in Saudi Arabia also. And sometimes UpScrolled is banned in some countries. So maybe when they're spoofing the GPS, it shows, oh, this guy is in some other country, and maybe you're not able to download UpScrolled. That can be a problem. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in the back end.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, Saudi government jumped in and blocked it. If some users can access it, maybe
Because
there is
Saudi
a technical
is
problem.
pro-Palestine.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
very
thing.
pro-
Like
it is the only country
Yeah.
which openly says we're not joining Abraham Accords until Palestine is a free country.
Exactly.
And Trump has like tried his best. He's tried his level best. He's tried buttering. He hasn't threatened them, but he's tried the ultimate level of vitamin A to Z buttering
Yeah.
that he could do, but he hasn't been able to convince Saudi.
there's steadfast policy. Like
Yeah.
it's honestly it's good to see. But Majid, I just opened the menu for their performances in a way. Wait, look
Nice.
at this. Take a look at this. So first you have Alex Karp and this guy called Matthias, who basically come and talk about data, drones, and democracy.
Okay.
Hold up. Before Alex Karp comes up, they have James Cameron, this filmmaker, have a conversation with Bob Iger, right, for their employees. So right after that, you have Alex Karp.
Nice.
Then after that, this one was like, to my complete shock, Trevor Noah and Julia Roberts conversation. And then after that, they had Lena Nair with Oprah Winfrey. And then to end the night on an exciting note, they had Justin Bieber. And it's like, when you take a look at something like this, the reason why people are angry and like I totally get it is because Alex recently released a manifesto, and in this manifesto, it was expressed very explicitly that other cultures are inferior and that they're like regressing.
Yeah.
And we also had this one book about him. It was by this very famous author, and he basically said that Palantir was behind the pager attacks in Lebanon.
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of claims against them. And to be honest with you, Alex says this stuff like on stage. Like, I don't even need to quote books. Like, you can go watch it. But the point is that these celebrities that you all love so much and that you just hold so dear to your heart are money machines. You might not know it because of the perfectly curated image that they put out to us.
Companies behind them, not even an individual PR, but they have PR companies behind them handling just one person's PR.
Oh, yeah.
So
True.
imagine it's just, again, coming back to our point, we always say that you look at something, don't take it at face value.
So true.
You don't take a story at face value. If you're one of the listeners or watchers and you see a Bloomberg story and it's like, oh, this is happening, don't take it at face value. You live in the time of AI, some of the best research tools. You don't even need to type, just voice it out to ChatGPT or
It's
Claude.
so calculated. It's so calculated. And I think it's important for us to see this list. Look, I really don't think Justin Bieber is sitting there going like, oh my God, like, I didn't, like,
He went there to protest.
Honestly, I don't even think that he's aware of what Alex Karp is doing. I just think that this is what it is to them. Like, it's a culture, and it's an American culture that they're going to maintain. But I think right now in the UAE, what they're maintaining is honestly a very strong culture of protecting what they have. And we saw this in real time with the response.
Yeah, so the head of International Atomic Energy Agency praised the UAE response to the May 17 attack near Barakah nuclear energy power plant following a site visit and press conference at the St. Regis Abu Dhabi.
So in a video posted on X, after visiting the site, Rafael Grossi described the attack as a carefully planned operation and said those responsible knew exactly what they were doing.
And it's very interesting that in the start, as soon as the news broke, everyone was like, oh, maybe it's Iran. But then UAE conducted an investigation, and the origins of those drones were from Iraq. But it wasn't Iraqi government and Iraq as a country attacking them. It was some people who support Iran, who sit in Iraq. Those people fired those drones. They haven't named any single group, but they said the origin from there. But Barakah, very importantly, why it's important is the Arab world's only operational nuclear power plant. We may soon, within Trump's time as president, see one in Saudi Arabia too. There's discussions. But this is the only nuclear power plant in the Arab world. And it's a $20 billion facility which was developed by the Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation, operates 4 reactors in Abu Dhabi's Al Dhafra region.
Now, after touring the site, Grossi said Barakah had passed a trial by fire, adding that emergency procedures worked as designed and there was never any radiological emergency.
Thankfully, there was no Chernobyl kind of situation. But the incident comes as the UAE continues strengthening energy security with ADNOC accelerating construction of a second pipeline bypassing the Strait of Hormuz. This is big news today also. A project already nearing 50% completion.
I think that this is really great. You know, the fact that it's on the way. They have a lot of contingency planning in place here. And I think the fact that you have Grossi standing there right beside the site, vlogging it all for you.
I'm not getting cancer or radio waves. No, it's very important to at these events, after these events, because we've seen the world go through, I think, 2 very serious nuclear leakages in the history. And if somehow this was the third, it would have been catastrophic. But again, to my point, that good leadership, good proactive measures, ideas that this can happen, and contingency planning, all these are a forte that we see in the UAE and in Gulf countries who are developing at a record pace. So they are not just making money right now, they're making sure that the things that help them make that money. It's a very interesting question. I think Varda asked me, or someone asked me, like, why do you need a nuclear power plant? Because UAE is not a nuclear power. They're not registered as a country which makes nuclear bombs or nuclear weapons. So why do you need nuclear? And I think I've quoted this number before as well, that France produces nearly more than 50% or less than 60%, nearly 50 to 60% of their energy needs from nuclear. So UAE's step to create the first Arab world's first ever nuclear power plant, it's not because they're trying to plan to make bombs in the future or in the present or in the past. Their idea is that when they diversify from oil and gas, because of which we have cheaper energy here and we have cheaper oil prices, they will need some alternative to create electricity. And nuclear is one of the most cleanest, sustainable, green form of energy or source of electricity that you can create. The good thing about, the difficult part, about this is that nuclear enrichment is a long process, takes a lot of resources, and it's expensive in the start. But once you start, create a system around it, and you're well versed in all the technical details, and you put up a power plant, it becomes good.
Majid, I think it was you who was telling me that it's this guy over here, Raphael, that basically went over to Iran and said that they got no nuclear capabilities. I just think that, these spoke people who are right in the middle of all this drama are just so entertaining. They really are, because he's here, he's looking at Barakah, and he's like, yo, like, oh my God, the UAE is so, like, they cracked the code. And then he went to Iran and he's like, yo, let me defend them too. Like, no, they don't have any nuclear capabilities, America. But I think you bringing up France, right now, we saw that Khaldoun al-Mubarak is there standing with Macron, the president of France. And, even Macron himself posted on X, MGX chooses France. So what is going on right now, and this is a story that many people are not aware of, MGX is not just a part of the build out for the largest data center outside of the US and the UAE. They are building the largest data center in the entirety of Europe with France. And I think it's like right at the outskirts of Paris, and it's with this French AI company called Mistral, my bad.
They have a chatbot, in English you'll read it Les Chat, but in French it's Les Chat.
And it's like these three French guys. They built a really, I don't even think we can call it a startup now, but he's there, they're posing together, and the plans are in place. I think NVIDIA was previously involved in the plan, perhaps they still are, we need to confirm that. But I just think the relations, like we see it with Brazil, with France, all over.
You would remember after Mr. Trump went back to his home country to wage war on here and there. Sorry for the funny comment, but he at that point, our president, UAE president, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, he went to France and they signed, I think, $25 or $30 billion deal. And this move is also a part of that deal. So this is our point of explaining to you that, remember when Mr. Trump signed a $600 billion deal with US, you would never see Saudi directly giving $600 billion check to US. We discussed it in May when Mr. Trump came as well, that it's never a blank check or a timed or dated check that, oh, 600 billion, please take it, do whatever you want. It's always one company from the US coming here in Saudi, investing here, then Saudi company going, setting up an office there, creating jobs, doing something. This is one of the examples of how countries do work. Whenever you see, oh, this president and this president or the prime minister, they've signed $30 billion cooperation deal. It's never governments that go and invest. It's the private companies which will go and invest. So
but you know what, like, just to give you like a real example, in real time of this actually happening, we see it specifically in Abu Dhabi. And you know in what? And like, not many people would probably think about it, but I think it's NYU. The fact that, number one, the UAE, they have this ambassador, his name is Yusuf Al-Utaiba. And Yusuf Al-Utaiba, especially in the beginning of the 2000s, was like extremely famous for brokering a really strong relationship between the UAE and America. So then what happens? They bring NYU to Abu Dhabi. I think, by the way, that they had their graduation in the Louvre. But the point here, but the point here is, Majid, is the fact that it's almost like NYE is almost like American headquarters in Abu Dhabi. And I think that spread of U.S. influence, it was there from the beginning. I think that it most definitely started with His Highness President Sheikh, what's it called? Sorry,
Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed.
Sorry, the entire name. But the point is I think it started with him, and this is an important relationship that they've been brokering, and that university being there, that is no like odd decision. It's a very intentional decision. It's the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we always say that it's like, it's U.S. air bases, it's U.S. arms, and them being stationed in the Gulf, and that is how, they have their presence. No, it's in universities, and this is kind of how that influence, that ideology spreads, and that is why those big deals, that $1.4 trillion is being brokered between them. This is a relationship they've been building for like over 2 decades now.
If you deep it more, we just discussed 2 separate things, and if you combine them, you'll know that why Saudi Arabia, UAE, they're becoming the hubs of data centers because one of the biggest components of building data centers is energy, right? You need energy to run all those things.
And chips.
And I was just talking about France having nuclear capabilities of creating energy, electricity for those data centers. That is why, have you heard of any other European country building data centers on this scale? Because they have a big source of clean energy, nuclear energy. That is why they're trying to become the UAE or the America of Europe and building data centers there. So it's very interesting how these things, so many things from here and there, they're combined together. But at the leadership level, obviously at the president level, at the higher finance, federal ministers levels, they have people under them who know this stuff. They go, they research, they find the best investing opportunity, which is the best country in Europe to invest in for what. We have, Ver just talked about CLI. We have so many deals where UAE is going to other countries and taking over their national champions in some industries. So energy, they went to Australia to try to buy a company, it's still in the works. They went to other countries, and then UAE has CEPAs with everyone, right? So it's so interesting that they go to a country and they don't go with their strength. They don't go, oh, we have oil and this and that and we'll bring this to you. No, they go to a country, they identify the top players in the industry and they're like, okay, these are the top players. This is a company which we can overtake. And then eventually we may have a holding in this country as well.
But I think at the heart of all of this behavior, these mannerisms, Majid, is the fact is that they're very nationalistic. And I think this is something I wish that I saw more with people from like my culture, from Sudanese culture. And I'll say why I'm saying this. Like we see in Egypt, right? If you look at the Talat Mustafa group, you have one guy who's building a major megacity in Cairo, in Egypt, with President El-Sisi. That is one man who is doing all of this. When I'm saying doing all of this, I don't mean building it brick by brick, but you have this one man who is brokering all of this. He sees Turki al-Sheikh come to Egypt. Immediately, they sign entertainment deals in Egypt. They build a bond with Saudi Arabia. And it's that point of, this is so inspiring. Like, what if we had someone like
someone in
who
Pakistan
leads
or
a group
Sudan.
like the TMG group? Like, what if Invictus decided, let's go back to Sudan. Let's empower people like that. This is, this is not something that we see a lot. But right now, I think that Emaar Misr specifically is having a bit of a struggle there. So Emaar Misr's chief executive Mustafa Al-Qadi was terminated on May 25th, according to an Egyptian exchange disclosure, with founder Mohamed Alabbar, in fact, stepping in to be the CEO and generally oversee Egypt's operations.
And Emaar Misr said Mr. Alabbar will exercise direct and full oversight of the company's business operations and affairs while the developer searches for its next chief executive.
And I just think generally with this story, Majid, is that it's number one, we now know why we see Alabbar a lot in Egypt, while Marassi is doing really great. I think that this is a necessary step for them.
I think it's just it's Mr. Alabbar. Yesterday I had a call. I won't take the name, and it's very interesting story.
Why did I think you were going to say I had a call with Alabbar?
No. It was about Mr. Alabbar. It was a half an hour call with a friend who works at IFCO in the finance department, and he saw the Smashi story, and he called me and he was like, we also know about all of this, and this is happening, we know, but if you have any other knowledge, outside knowledge, let me know. Generally he's like, oh, he'll know more. I was like, no.
Is he scared for his job?
Yeah, everyone is. And because it's going to be a merger or an acquisition, and most probably 90% an acquisition. And whenever these M&As happen, it's a bloodbath when it comes to the already existing employees. And it's not like they do it because, they love to do bloodbaths and they love to fire people. It's just realigning on the new owner's wavelength.
Man, you sound like HR right now, Majid.
The funny thing is...
What? It is a bloodbath.
Yeah, it is.
Stand with the people.
But at the end of they fire people, but they rehire people also. The job creation wise, numbers wise, if you look at data, they actually they level up. They don't, and if IFCO does good, they will hire more people. So it's good for the industry.
Sometimes a change of leadership, I think, is kind of like. Did you watch The Devil Wears Prada?
No,
the second film. So Majid, you should, by the way, because I feel like I didn't understand why Khalij Times was really running with this like journalist narrative.
Yeah.
But when I watched it, I finally understood it. But with the film, this thing happened where you saw how, because there was a change of leadership in a company, what ended up happening is people weren't fired, but the CEO who could take a private jet and had like their own private driver no longer had one. They had to use Uber. So
Good.
these
I love those stories.
no, I'm not a hater.
I love those stories.
There's something to class and luxury.
It's just, I love those stories because give you an example of Nokia.
You enjoy it.
I recently started following Nokia again because with data centers coming back, they were the best phones at some point in my life. You could throw their phone from Burj Khalifa's top floor and it will land safely on the ground. They were so strong.
Go try it.
Yeah, Nokia was the best. It was like the Apple and Samsung of their time. They didn't change with the times. And then they became obsolete in the industry. So with CEOs or with leaders who don't change with times, who are not updated, they just make a business and sit on the side. They eventually have to take the Ubers and their private jets usually go away because they're not ready to change.
You'll find yourself fired, and I think I think that's a much worse fate.
IFCO story, very shortly, our discussion was very interestingly about who is better to take over, Mr. Alabbar or IHC. And my point of argument was, I was like, you are in finance. For you, the best scenario would be Mr. Alabbar because he'll come in and he'll fire the marketing and PR team first of all. So you may have a chance. He's like, why? I was like, haven't you followed Smashi business enough?
I rebuke this bad energy. May no one get fired. Also,
it happens. See, it's a necessity. It's not even a decision.
It's not. And I just see, the thing is, I understand you saying it's a necessity from a financial side.
Yeah.
But me and you, Majid, we're not financial accountants.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever say any of this is necessary. It's just more of, I see Alabbar as an arm of the UAE government in the end of the day.
And IHC also
did you see that photo where it's like MBZ, it's His Highness Sheikh Mohamed, the Dubai ruler, you have Faza, and then who do you have standing right there? Alabbar. These people, like, between them, this is like kicking football, genuinely. That's why it's difficult for me to see, like, who is better to take this forward.
Just to give you the basic rationale, because I don't want people to hate me who are listening to this, the basic rationale of firing people as soon as an M&A happens is not, we just need to fire these people because they've been useless and that is why this company went down. The basic rationale is I take over the debt, I pay 2 billion to the banks and now company is mine, right? The very first thing, I can't change the company's finances and everything in a month or even a year. I will take 4 or 5 years to recoup my money and then maybe I'll start taking the profits, reaping the fruits. The very first simplest thing that you can do is make your ship tighter and reduce the daily useless costs where you see a person like Elon Musk. He went to X, sat with every person for 5 minutes, said, what do you do for X? Explain to me in 5 minutes. If you can't, sorry, you're fired. And people who were actually able to tell him in those 5 minutes, and then he sent out emails company-wide that these are, tell me one sentence why I shouldn't fire you.
Dystopian to me, to be honest
with you. It is, but see, you have to
should,
agree it happens at the highest level.
True, but no one should have to beg for dignity. And I just, look, honestly, the biggest piece of advice I would honestly ever say as someone who has, like, from my own family, seen many of them successfully climb the career ladder and, like, really make it. And, this is just my perspective. I think you should spend more time at being good at the job that you do. And not just being good at the job that you do, but I think, like, it should be like a genius thing. It should be like a passion project of, like, not even because when you start thinking I need to be better than everyone else, that's when you're not humble. That's when you're egotistical, and that's when you start acting up with attitude you're not even aware of. It's more of the point of everything you're speaking to a perfectionist. Maybe that's why I'm saying this. But you just need to be so stellar, so good at what you do. And just, this need to adapt, be resilient. Like, I have this thing, Majid, where honestly, like, whenever I feel like, okay, like, I know what I'm doing really well, I'm like, okay, what don't I know what don't I really know well? Let me try and get to know it. And that's kind of the point. No one's going to hold your hand and tell you, okay, you're really good at this now. You need to start improving in this. It's it's just more of the point of you kind of need to absolutely be the best at everything.
Yeah.
And that's really how, spend more time thinking about that than getting fired. Because if you think about it, if you spend too much time about getting fired, once you get fired, it's like that's the only headspace you've been in. And it's kind of that negativity. And I just think that like, you got to be more positive, because I just think...
If you sat in front of Elon Musk, you'll have your job.
Really?
You'll explain it well.
But like, that's the point though. That's the point. Most of the people, honestly, who have high jobs are not that talented.
Yeah.
It's just more of this belief, this like, you know, like you need to like exude this
tenacity,
positivity.
velocity, and what is our third thing?
Oh my God.
What is the
I
third
cannot
thing?
with you right now.
Ingenuity.
Yeah. And
these are three values
the
of
pillars
Augustus Media.
Of Augustus. But no, on a real note though, I'm just, because you can't think I'm going to get fired. You know what I mean?
No, but if the CEO emails you and says one sentence, tell me why I shouldn't fire you, you should have a very good sentence ready always. That I am part of this puzzle which has 10 pieces and I'm the center part. Maybe I'm the corner part, but sometimes you can't solve puzzles without having the corners. Because I was just building a puzzle with my son. It was a big puzzle and my wife actually completed it. I couldn't.
Puzzles.
But those corners are the best things. You build the corners and then you fill in the... So be a corner or be a central piece, and when you get your 5 minutes or 10 minutes with Elon Musk or your CEO,
you know his
you
mom,
should be able to answer
his
it.
mom, by the way, she was at this Mary Claire event. It was like this beauty event that they had. There were horses, there was like a bunch of like Pilates, and his mom was there and she was giving a speech. And you would not believe what she had to say about her son. She was like, my son was a loner, he had no friends, like, and this is, the reason why I believe this to be true is because I even saw, apparently one of the best friends of Elon at Step Summit, it was this year, he was speaking, he's like, one of the best things about Musk right now is the fact that he's become like such a social bee. Like we even saw in his tour in China with Trump, I was surprised he was there. I thought these two had a friendship breakup.
He wanted to sell Teslas. He wants to sell Teslas.
And his son was with him, but it's kind of like that point of like, you know, you give some, you lose some, you know? Like I don't think I'm jealous of being Musk and sending an email like that, and I don't think I'm jealous of the person receiving that email either.
Would you send that email?
No.
If you take over a company, you would want to know who's the lazy bum and who's the good guy, right?
I don't think I'd ever be the type who try to take over something.
You would never buy a company if you can?
I would try to build my own company.
Okay.
What investments I make in other companies, I want them to be about like 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that much into operations.
Okay.
I want to hire someone who's good at operations.
You want to be Mubadala.
Sorry, I'm just like, I know, I'm thinking it through. I just wouldn't do it, you know? Like, I think that the most difficult job, Majid, is a bunch of people running on one system and you have to come and change the system.
Yeah.
That is like...
Put them on your system.
Your number one enemy. But that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all of our social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, Smashi Business Production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Thank you for downloading our shows 80,000 times per month on all Augustus Media podcasts that we have. We have a lot of them, 30 plus, 35 actually. So you guys make this possible. Have a great, great, great day. We'll see you tomorrow on Thursday.